Adolescence is a period of transition from childhood to adulthood. It includes many physical, cognitive, and psychosocial changes. We first explore physical development. Puberty is a period of two events, rapid physical growth and sexual maturation that occurs during adolescence. These changes are interspersed and begin somewhere between the ages of 8 and 14, typically. Girls begin puberty at around 10 years of age, and boys begin about a year and a half later. These changes can take up to 3 to 4 years or more for completion. Adolescents experience an overall physical growth spurt, and the growth proceeds from the extremities toward the torso. This is referred to as distal proximal development. In other words, you may see the hands grow, and then the arms, and finally the torso. The overall physical growth spurt means increases of about 10 to 11 inches in height and 50 to 75 pounds in weight. The head begins to grow sometime after the feet have gone through their period of growth. Growth of the head, however, is preceded by growth of the ears, nose, and lips. As the torso grows, so do the internal organs. The heart and lungs experience dramatic growth during this period. Sweat, odor, and oil glands become more active. Teenagers in the United States spend a lot of money on deodorants, shampoos, and acne medications as a result. The brain also undergoes dramatic growth during adolescence. The prefrontal cortex, located behind the forehead, is a part of the brain that helps with judgment, planning, and strategizing. This goes through a growth spurt in early adolescence. The cerebellum also grows during adolescence. Watch the film assigned in this lesson, entitled Inside the Teenage Brain, for more details. Sexual maturation is another change we undergo during adolescence. These changes are divided into two categories, primary and secondary sex characteristics. Primary sex characteristics are changes in the organs directly involved in reproduction. For example, for males, primary characteristics include growth of the penis, the testicles, the scrotum, and the first ejaculation of semen or spermarchy. This tends to occur between ages 11 and 15. Secondary characteristics are those changes that are not directly linked to reproduction, but they do signal that a male is becoming sexually mature. For example, the shoulders become broader, the areola, or area around the nipples, becomes larger. There is some temporary breast development due to hormonal changes in many boys, typically around 14 years of age, and subsiding at around 16. The voice becomes lower as the larynx grows. Hair becomes more coarse and darker. And hair in the pubic area, under the arms, and on the face begins to develop. In females, primary characteristics include growth of the uterus and the first menstrual period, or menarche. Stress and having a higher percentage of body fat can bring menstruation on at younger ages. Many of the secondary characteristics for girls are the same as for boys. Breast development begins at around age 10, and full development takes several years. The hips broaden and legs get larger. The voice becomes lower as the larynx grows, just as it does in males, although it's often less noticeable in females. Hair can become darker or more coarse. And pubic and underarm hair develop as well. There's currently a lot of attention placed on physical appearance in the United States, and this can be difficult for teens. Most teens just want to fit in with their peers, and those who don't may feel very uncomfortable. Teens who are overweight or obese may be ridiculed or teased. Physical changes may be easier for boys than girls because while boys are moving toward the cultural ideal of getting larger, girls seem to be moving away from the current cultural ideal of remaining thin. Early maturing females may feel uncomfortable with puberty, particularly because they may be thought of as much older and more sexually active and mature than they are. Late maturing females may feel that others don't respect them as having grown up. Early maturing males may be popular in school and thought of as more mature than they actually are. Or they may be recruited into gangs or other violent activities because of their physique if they live in neighborhoods or communities where this type of activity occurs. Late maturing males may overcompensate for their slight build by trying to act as if they're much older. The growth spurt is accompanied by a need for more calories. Most teens in the United States take in more than enough calories, but they don't eat healthy foods. Fast foods, high in fat, sugar, and salt, combined with a sedentary lifestyle, leaves many teens struggling with being overweight or obese. Such teens experience health risks such as sleep apnea, high blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes. The focus on remaining thin in light of an enormous amount of food availability in the United States can make some teens vulnerable to eating disorders. Teenage girls are especially vulnerable to eating disorders in cultures obsessed with thinness. Anorexia nervosa is one type of eating disorder in which there's overall starvation that can be life-threatening. A person with anorexia may see fat where there actually is none and may become obsessed with thinness, excessive dieting, and exercise. Anorexia can be difficult to treat. There seems to be a lot of cultural images that support anorexia, but it can lead to cardiac arrest. Bulimia is another eating disorder in which a person eats in binging episodes and then purges through self-induced vomiting or by using laxatives or enemas. Repeated exposure of teeth to corrosive stomach acid can break down the enamel, and blood blisters may develop on the roof of the mouth as the index finger continues to be placed there to evoke vomiting. The index finger may become discolored by stomach acid, and the esophagus may be damaged by repeated vomiting. Adolescence is a time when there's a potential for escalation in situations of abuse. Physical abuse may become more violent as a parent has altercations with a much bigger child in adolescence. Sexual abuse may increase in severity with puberty, and the impact of such abuse can include feeling stigmatized, having a distorted sense of sexuality, feeling powerless in relationships, and a good deal of distrust. The myth of mutuality is the myth that the victim of sexual abuse is somehow responsible for its occurrence. This myth makes it very difficult for a person who has been sexually abused to overcome the negative feelings associated with the abuse. Recognizing that this is a myth is an important step toward healing. A majority of youth become sexually active, particularly in their late teens. The use of contraception has increased, and teen pregnancy rates, though still high, have decreased. Most teens engage in sexual activity with a steady partner. In the United States, a decline in teenage smoking has somehow halted. We know that teenagers can be very sensitive to and become addicted to nicotine much more easily than an adult. About a third of teenagers who start smoking will continue to smoke throughout their life. Over-the-counter medications are still a cause for concern. And marijuana use has become the most commonly used substance. It has surpassed smoking tobacco. and the perceived risk of marijuana use has been on the decline. Some drugs are considered gateway drugs, which means that the use of these drugs can often lead to the use of stronger substances. Drug use often interferes with healthy nutrition and sleep that is so important for teenagers. And of course, many dangerous decisions can be made while under the influence. Examples include engaging in risky behavior or driving while high or intoxicated. Let's turn our attention to some global concerns with respect to youth. Youth make up about 30% of the population in developing countries. We've seen an increase in the amount of schooling that children receive, but often the quality of instruction is poor. Teachers and educational materials are hard to obtain. Drought, war, and other circumstances often disrupt schooling. The number of youth participating in the labor force has decreased in many parts of the world, and this allows children to participate in more formal education. HIV/AIDS is a leading cause of death in sub-Saharan Africa. This may be due to low condom use and widespread coercive sex. Tobacco use has also been increasing in developing countries. Child brides, or marriage to girls under 18, has decreased somewhat. And these are just a few of the concerns about youth in the developing world. Let's explore cognitive development in adolescence. Piaget believed that many adolescents reach formal operational thought. This is marked by the ability to think abstractly or to use systems of abstract thought or logic more readily. An adolescent may now be able to understand symbolic meanings, such as those found in religion. Adolescents may also begin to think about what-if situations or hypothetical situations much more easily than before. And the adolescent may become conscious of their own thoughts and enjoy the game of thinking or introspection. What's unique about adolescent thought? Psychologist David Elkind offers some insights into the unique qualities of adolescent thought. Adolescent egocentrism, for example, is the feeling that many teens have that no one can really understand what they are going through. A consoling adult may be told, "You don't understand." Nobody understands. The imaginary audience refers to the feeling of self-consciousness that many adolescents experience. Even when alone, a teenager may be imagining how others would see them. Those who feel particularly uneasy or awkward may try to make up for the discomfort by being sarcastic or by posturing in public. The personal fable is the notion that fame and fortune lie ahead. This belief comes as the adolescent's able to see possibilities, but not yet understand probabilities. I had a student once who raised her hand during our class discussion of the personal fable. I called on her and she said, "Oh my gosh, I did this. I kept a list of all my teachers' names so that I could personally thank them when I became famous." What was your personal fable? You may have given it up once you found out how unlikely it was. The invincibility fable is the mistaken idea that one is indestructible. Teenagers may think that they may never get hurt when engaging in risky behavior. Look for examples of the invincibility fable in the film you view for this lesson. In youth, conformity is emphasized. Many teenagers, especially, pressure one another to act and speak and dress and think alike. Formal operational thought can be accompanied by the ability to see possibilities never before considered. Youth are often idealistic as a result. However, what's possible is not the same as what's likely. Experience bears this out. Some current concerns in education in the United States include reducing the rate of students who drop out of school before completing their high school diplomas, the impersonal nature of large bureaucratic high schools, and the issue of where to group students by age in schools. Should sixth graders be included in elementary school, or should they be part of a junior high or middle school? Should ninth graders be at the top of their class in a junior high, or should they be attending school with seniors? What would be the advantages and disadvantages of each? Now we turn our attention to relationships and psychosocial development in adolescence. The beginning of our modern idea of adolescence as a time of storm and stress can be traced to G. Stanley Hall. Hall wrote a 3-volume work documenting the lives of youth in 1909. As people relocated to large industrial cities in the United States, youth became more visible and gained the attention of social workers and others concerned with development. Hall believed that the storm and stress of adolescence is created by the biological changes associated with puberty. But for many teens, adolescence is not a period of storm and stress. It seems to be a more stressful time for those who are experiencing other stressors, perhaps at school or at home. Consider your adolescence. Would you like to return to that period in your life? Why or why not? Anna Freud wrote about adolescence and saw it as a period of temporary disruption as the id, ego, and superego are out of balance. Hopefully, the overactive id is brought under control by the ego, or the use of reason, by being realistic. The later years of adolescence are less volatile than early adolescence. Erikson believed that the primary concern of adolescence is that of establishing identity. The teen struggles with the question, who am I? Who am I physically, sexually, socially, vocationally, spiritually, academically, and so on? Hopefully, the teen postpones making any decisions that will lock him in prematurely. The teen needs to wait or go through a period of exploration, according to Erikson, referred to as a psychosocial moratorium, before making any long-term decisions. Foreclosure occurs when others take that decision-making away from the teen. Having a criminal record or becoming a parent are examples of foreclosure. The teen who goes through adolescence without establishing any sense of self may be apathetic about the future. This is referred to as identity confusion. To what extent do you think Erikson's theory is culturally based? Here's a list of what teens have said they would like from their parents. See to what extent you would agree with this list. Are there other things you'd add? First of all, they wanted reasonable freedoms and privileges from their parents. They wanted their parents to show faith in the decisions they made. They wanted their parents to approve of them, not that they had to like everything they did or said. They wanted their parents to be willing to listen to them. They wanted their parents to show concern for them and to support them in their interests. They wanted guidance from their parents, even if reluctant to ask for it directly. They wanted a happy home environment, and they wanted their parents to be good role models. What would you add to this list? We now turn our attention to some problems of youth. In the mid-1980s through the early 1990s, there was a dramatic increase in the number of juvenile offenses in the United States. This was due in part to the increase in drug trafficking that involved recruiting youth in inner cities to make drug deliveries and deals. This increase and the accompanying media publicity led many to believe that youth are particularly involved in crime. However, since that time, there's been a decline in the rates of assault, weapon possession, theft, and burglary committed by youth. Most homicides committed by youth at that time did not occur all across the United States. Rather, they were concentrated in 8 of the 3,000 counties in the U.S., very concentrated in large urban centers. Most youth who do engage in juvenile offenses do not become lifetime offenders, and youth are more often the victims of violence. Rates of adolescent suicide increased dramatically in the U.S. between 1950 and 1970. There has more recently been a slight decrease in the number of teen suicides. We often hear about teen suicide in the media, and sometimes that gives us the impression that youth are the most at-risk group for suicide. But actually, suicide rates are higher for people in late adulthood, particularly men in late adulthood. There are about 100 attempts for every completed suicide. Females make more attempts, but males commit suicide more frequently in any age group. Firearms are used in about 49% of suicides. Hanging or suffocation rates have been up. Who's at risk? Teenagers who experience depression, who've been diagnosed with a conduct disorder or drug dependency, seem to be more at risk for suicide. Gay, lesbian, or youth who are questioning their sexual orientation are more at risk as well. Those who've had a family member commit suicide have a higher risk. And risk is highest just after school. Why do you think this would be the case? There are an estimated 1.7 million runaway or thrown-away youth in the United States. The majority of these are between the ages of 15 and 17. No gender or racial group is overrepresented. The majority of these cases go unreported. Parents may think that their child will return soon, or they may have thrown them out of the house. Of the 21% of cases that are reported, a large percentage, 71%, in fact, are under the age of 13 and are considered to be at risk for dangers of life on the street. These dangers include violence, drug use, and sexual assault. You can click on this link or type it in your address box to hear one example of the problems of homeless youth in Seattle, Washington. In our next lesson, we'll explore early adulthood.